this week on the vlog, we're not down there, we're up here. We are going to be working on the roof. We want to be able to put a hatch in here. Now at the moment this bodywork is steel. Steel isn't the best thing for opening in a hurry, so we're going to make a fiberglass panel to go in the roof, and we've got to make the roof stronger, because once we cut a big hole in it, it isn't going to want to stay like that anymore. So the first thing we're going to do is take the stickers off, take these bolts out, because it actually had, we don't know what it was mounted in there. It looked like a switch that a button got pushed up and down on, so maybe it had some type of flashing lights on it. But yeah, we've got to remove the sticker and make a fiberglass panel of this. So we've got to make a mould of the roof. Okay, so we're up on the roof, and what we've done was we put masking tape down on the roof, and now we're putting some old truck vest banner, what they use. So this is just a plastic, and we're making this so we can make a barrier, because in a minute we're going to fiberglass this, and we're going to come up here and make a return, so when we put this on a table we can make a nice flat panel. It isn't going to be the best panel because the roof isn't absolutely perfect, but it's going to be perfect for what we're doing. So Georgina's just going along with a hot glue.
It's like a weird version of welding.
Yeah, this is plastic welding. Got a really high powered glue gun, loads and loads of glue stick, and we're just going to glue all the way around the top.
Not very good at it, but I'm giving it my best shot.
I make it look easy, don't I?
I don't like doing it.
Georgina doesn't like doing it. You have to be careful. It's really hot, the glue, and it can burn your fingers.
So I'm not touching it.
So you're not touching it, but yeah. So let's come back in a minute once we've got it all glued up, and then I'll show you what we do next. So what we're up to now, so we've glued all the way around the edge, and now we're putting in, this is called filleting wax, but it's a bit like plasticine. So we're putting a bead of that all the way around. Normally what we do, you wax this with waxing compound, which is mold release agent. So yeah, but because we want to paint this later, and putting all that wax on is not easy to get off, we're going to put a PVA glue on this, and then that gives a barrier for the fiberglass not to stick. So we just got to put this all the way around and then put the PVA on and let that dry overnight.
Dad's just putting the blue glue, the PVA glue down.
Yeah, so it's not like PVA that you would use for papering. The reason it's got the blue in it so you can see where you've been with it. And you just want to get a very smooth layer on. You can actually spray it, but it makes a bit of a mess.
It smells kind of weird.
Yeah.
I'm only getting the smell now over it.
So yeah, so just put a light coat on it, just trying to make it as light as we can. You don't want it very thick because we want it to dry.
Tell you what, it makes your eyes water a bit, doesn't it?
Well, it's got a bit of solvent in it to try and make it evaporate quicker.
Yeah. I added this triangle bit, probably useless, but I thought it'd be a bit of fun. Into the little signage we did.
But you don't get a brilliant finish with this, but we're not worried about that.
No.
We just want to make the panel, and we can make the panel look good afterwards.
Yeah. It's quite
that's why we've even left the sticker on.
Yeah, it's quite a big section we're actually making.
Well, we're not making it that big. The bit we want is in the middle, but I've just made it this big because it's a little bit easier to make it.
It's almost a full width of the roof we are.
So that is all the PVA on, so we just got to leave that to dry overnight, and then we'll be able to start putting on the gel coat in the morning. Okay, so it's the next day, and I'm down here on my own today because Georgina's back at the home office, and she is doing the video, which you've just seen, of the roll cage. So I'm up here, so I've just done the gel coat. So the gel coat is like what we call the top coat or finishing coat if it was paint, but we put that on first because we're doing everything round backwards. So we're making the mold. So put the gel coat on now, and it's at the stage where if you look now, so if you see there, I've just touched it, so I can put my finger on it, push it on there, and it leaves a fingerprint behind. And it's a little bit tacky, but I'm not getting anything on my finger. So that is at the stage where we can now put the fiberglass on to make the mold. So once that's all done, we can take this piece off the roof, and then we can make the actual panel that we want. So yeah, so that's what I'm going to do now. I can't film it because, as you could probably appreciate, I haven't got I'm standing on top of the tank, actually just standing straight up on the tracks. and I'm on my own today, so I can't video this bit, but I will show you what it looks like after I finish. Also, what I'm up to at the moment, so I've got some new bumpers for my Scania. So I've got one there, got another one there, and I've got a new side step. They all had a little bit of damage on them, so yeah, getting nice new ones fitted for the beginning of the season. So there it is, all the mould is made now, so looks quite good. There's a few little bits that have gone wrong on it, so like there's a little bubble there, but that doesn't matter because that is on the edge. We're only worried about what's this bit of it. So this is just a lip just to stop the fiberglass running off the body. So yeah, so that's 5 layers thick of 600 GSM. So that is quite a thick mould, that is, for what we call a splash mould. This is only just to make one panel. We're not going to make hundreds and hundreds of panels out of this. It's just to make this one panel, and also I'm going to use this to make a roof scoop because I want to put a scoop in here to get air into the back of it because the radiators are going to be going in the back of the tank. But that's it for the minute. Now I'm just going to go into the spray booth and just do some more work on my bumpers of the Scania. So it's the next day and I'm back down the workshop, still on my own. Georgina isn't feeling well, so I'm on my own today. So the fiberglass is all dried, so it's ready to take it off. Now I've started pulling off the barrier because I'm standing just on the top of the tank. When you pull it, it comes off with a bit of force and then you could fall off. So I've decided I'm just going to take it all off with it all on it. So I'm still going to, because it's just hot glued down onto the masking tape. So the masking tape will come up. So I've got a wedge in there, just going to bash the wedge in. And look, you can see you can get your hand underneath it now. And then just going to go around it, loosen it all off. And then take the whole thing off and then take the edging off afterwards. So just done it. So look, there it is, all done. Let's lift it down now and then have a look what it looks like. So I've lifted the mould down off the top of the tank. So this is where you put the PVA on. So sometimes the PVA stays on the tank or sometimes it stays on the mould. But the best thing about it is, so you just get hold of it, get your finger, pick the tape, pick the PVA up and you can just peel it off. It doesn't stick at all. So it's that easy, and also it's water soluble, so you can wash it away. So that is the mould all trimmed up. So I've just gone around with an angle grinder, chopped off all the fluffy bits that overhang. So next thing to do, I'm going to actually do some work on the bumpers for the Scania. So I'm going to sand them down. But the next thing we've got to do on this is in the roof of the tank, there is a crack. So that's a high spot. So if you sand that down, and then polish it, that would take that out. So when you make a mould of it, it'd be fine. So like on this here, because I could have took the stickers off, but it would have really messed up the roof on the tank because the paint isn't very stuck very well. A bit like when we pulled the stickers off here, it's pulled the paint off, and that is more hard work than trying to get rid of that. So what you can do, so at the moment, if you've got high spots, you just sand that and polish that. So when you make the panel, so this is a low spot, that would end up being a high spot on the panel because it's the opposite. So if you sand the panel, you would get rid of that. So you can actually fix a lot of the stuff. So like down here, if I sand that down, those are like, you can probably see it, there's a dent there, that's a dent in the roof of the tank. So if I sand that down on the mould, try and get that flat, when we make the panel it'll be gone. Here, these are low spots. So when you make the panel, you'll have a bit sticking up, and then you make the panel and you sand that down and you lose the marks. It's a good way of making something quite quick without fixing absolutely everything, because most people won't see the top of this. So yeah, but that is what we're up to at the minute. So these are the new bumpers. So they've had a special etch primer on them to help them, because these are ABS plastic, to try and get the paint to stick. Then they're high build primer, and now I'm just about to wet sand them. So I'll spray them all over with an aerosol to give them a guide coat. Once all this is nice and smooth, you won't see any of the black, but it takes a while because those weren't too bad. They're a fairly flat plastic. This one was a really horrible bubbly plastic, so I've had to sand a lot of it. And of course, when you prime it, then you have to sand it again. I might even have to put more primer on this one because the plastic was so bobbly, but we want a nice smooth finish. I do like painting black. Look at that, it's just like a mirror. I absolutely love spraying. By trade, I actually am a paint sprayer by trade, and I love doing this stuff. It's amazing what you can do. When something starts out, just looks plain and boring. Time you put a nice bit of paint on it, it looks amazing. So I've put the seats back in. So the driver's one, that's all bolted in properly. This one is just sat there. The reason I've done that is I've looked on the top, I've actually shortened. So on this side, it's got the head protection, the full width. On the other one, I've shortened it so it's the same as the other side. So I will do that. I'm not sure whether to do it on this one because it's where the passenger would be, and it's just a little bit more protection, but the driver needs to be able to see a little bit more. And I wanted to see what it's like when you sat in here and then bring the roof down so I can work out where the hatch is going to go and how the easiest ways to do it. Now, I've got my idea what I'm going to do, but first what I'm going to do is all the bits are dry, so the parts of the bumper for the Scania are dry, so I'll put them up in the office to harden off and then we can polish them. But yeah, so let's get the mould what we made for the roof into the spray booth and polish it and take some of the imperfections out of it, and then we can make a panel to put on the inside of here and one on the outside. You'll see what I'm doing in a minute because we're going to try and make this watertight. So this is what the mould for the roof panel looks like now. So what we're going to do is we're going to wet sand it. It'll clear up a lot of the imperfections with it. It will still have marks on it like here, but it'll help its finish a lot better. But also remember, then once you've got the panel out of this, you can also sand the other panel to try and get the roof looking a lot better. Didn't want to spend absolutely ages fixing the roof on that because I want to chop a big hole in it anyway, which I'm going to have to do work on anyway. So that was just a little bit of waste of time. This way is a lot quicker. So there is the panel sanded now. So it did have a high spot here, which was a dent. So I sanded that out. That's just the fiberglass you can see. But the rest of the marks are now going to be their low spots. So next time we do the next panel, we can sand them off and that'll be it finished. But let's get some wax on this and then we can start putting the gel coat on and getting the fiberglass made. And this panel will be made so we can start work on the roof. Okay, so we've made the mould. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make the panel. So it's the exact same process of how we made the mould. So we start off with the gel coat. Now the gel coat is clear and all we do is we put a pigment in it to make it go black. The idea of making it go black is so it's a different colour to the mould. So when we put this on it, we can actually see we've got good coverage. Just start on it and just carry it going over. Just make sure there's no dust on it. We've already cleaned it and polished it, so it's got 2 coats of high mould release wax on there. Could put more on it, but I think that the surface is fairly good and it shouldn't stick to it, but we'll find out in a minute. So we're just going to put the gel coat over it. So this is basically the top coat, and then we can put the mat underneath it, and then that will be the panel made. Now if we put this on a little bit thicker, it gives us something to sand back to take all the little imperfections out of it, like especially where the sticker was in the roof. So we're on that bit, we'll need to keep that nice and thick on there. So it gives us something to be able to sand that back, so when we make the panel, it should be nice and smooth. And also keep it nice and thick where the holes are in the roof, because then we can sand that back. But you've got to go quite quick with this because I put a lot of catalyst in it. So it's a 2-part polyurethane this is, and it will go off, especially it's quite hot in here today. This will probably be touch dry in 10 minutes, so you don't want to hang about. Doesn't matter too much if you get brush marks in it. You can thin this down and spray it, You need a really good spray gun for that. But it does make a lot of mess because you're spraying. So when we're just making a quick panel and we're not too worried about weight, because when you've got a 10-ton tank, a couple of grams here and there because you put on gel coat with a brush instead of spraying it on isn't going to make that much difference in the long run. So nearly finished. Trying to not cover the camera so you can see what I'm doing. Guesstimated about right, so I did about 1.5 litres of gel coat because it's a 3 litre bucket, so I did about half a bucket. That's it. Can't see any holes in it because that's why because it's grey underneath, if you had a hole in it you would see the grey, but this is black on top of grey. It's quite easy to see if you've missed a bit. Just using up the last little bits in the pail or the bucket. Hope you find this interesting. A lot of people hear about fiberglassing but never actually see it done. Just brushing it all out, just trying to make it even. Doesn't really matter too much because this is the inside. You won't see this part. That's it all done. So that's how much is left. Just a little bit. So what we do now is just get what's left. Just spread it over the inside of the bucket because then when it dries you can snap it off and it makes it a lot easier to clean out. The brush, you try and squeeze out the last little bits of resin, or the gel coat out the brush. And that goes in a big bucket of acetone, which is over there on the side. So leave this now for probably an hour, and then we can put on the fiberglass. So that is the reason why we're putting the hatch in the roof. The gap between the seat and that new bar we put in isn't a lot. We knew that when we was building it. On this side with the wing in there, you can't even get your fist through it. So that one's definitely got to be shortened. So that's, I'm going to have to do that, what I did to the other side. So yeah, it's going to bring that one right back the way back to there. If you had to, you could squeeze through there, I think. But with the hatch on, that should be a lot better. So this is how you get in. Step over the windscreen. If I was going to zoom out. Yeah, so I'm stepping over the windscreen bar, come in. There's all have the floor along here. You'll stand along here, hold on to the bar, and get into the seat. Oh, well, it's nice when the seat goes down. Right, so the next thing I'm going to do is let's turn it around. All right, so the next thing we're going to do is bring the body down. So got the little remote here, bringing it down. There's a little wiggle where it lines itself up. There it goes. And that's it all the way down. So now we're in here, we can work out where we're going to cut to put the panel in. So we're going to cut fairly close to this line here, and then fairly close. Oh, I don't know if that's going to look what that looks like. So then we're going to go close to where those holes are there, and probably cut it probably just on the outside of this one here, so very close to this line. So we got this nice flat panel where we can put our return in, because we need to put some stuff to hold this up. So we're going to have to put a bar in here this way to the back so we can push up on that. So if we lean on it, we're not going to bend it. This one will be quite close to this anyway, so we can put a lip up on here to push up on that to hold that up, and the same on the back. I hope that makes sense. It's quite hard to film in here when it's quite small, but so the next thing I'm going to do now is get a pen, mark it all out, cut it, and then we can work out how we're going to fill in the return afterwards. This is why I didn't want to take the sticker off. I knew that it was going to pull the paint off, and this would have been a lot harder to get rid of the edges than just the sticker. So now what I've done is I've marked out where we're going to cut. So I've got a little radius on the corners, nice straight edges, measured it from corner to corner, and it's all square. So the next thing we've got to do is cut this piece out. So I've cut the hole in the roof, but we're cracking on with it, and now in here the gel coat has dried. So if you touch it, look, it doesn't stick on your finger, but you can, it's just tacky. That is perfect to get the fiberglass on. So let's get the fiberglass on this, and then I've got to go to the dentist. Okay, so I've pre-cut the fiberglass, so I've laid it on there. You can see how sticky it is because it sticks to the gel coat, and that's what we want. So just mixed up the fiberglass resin, and what we're going to do now is put a coat of that on, and then we can get it all on in one go. So we're going to put 2 layers of 600 GSM. Now that's, if you remember like your paper for your printer and stuff like that, that's measured in GSM. That's how thick the paper is, so like how much quality is in the paper. Now fiberglass you can get in all different thicknesses for different types of applications. So 600 is actually quite a thick one. You can get it as thin as 30. And that is almost, if you put resin on it, it almost goes see-through. It's thinner than some paper, but that's not very strong. You can just use it for, if you want a nice finish on the inside of your mould, you can actually put that on as like it's called like tissue. I might even show you what that's like if I've got enough time at the end of this. So I'm going to do this in real time so you can see how quick you can do it. Now, probably got the back to you now. So the main thing is you want to get the first one nice and wet all over, because you're going to roll this. Yeah, so basically you're going to try and get all the air that's in the weave out. So you want to push the resin all the way through it. So that has got one coat all the way over. Put that down now. Get the first sheet. Now I've pre-cut this, so it's a lot quicker. If you're doing a lot of the same stuff, you can actually like make a template. Like if you was making a dress or something like that, you can do it the same way. This is what I was on about the roller. It's got little ridges in it, so you can squeeze the resin through. So, trying to press it down. Squeeze the resin through it, and then we're going to put another coat of resin on the top of this. But it's just nice to get it down. Alright, so that is that down. Now you can dab it, you can spread it. Well, the main thing is you want to try and get it down nice and flat. And don't skimp on the edges, because if you skimp on the edges, that's what makes it hard to get off. We want to put a nice bit down where the ribs are, because we want to stretch the fiberglass down into where the ribs are in the roof. So there's another one there, so we want to make sure we get it all the way into there. Quite satisfying to find out where they are. Now if you get this one a bit wet, it doesn't matter, because we've got another one to go on top of this, and we can soak up the excess resin with that. Now if you go out and buy fiberglass from your local cast shop or DIY shop, it's quite expensive. If you buy it in bulk like I do it, it's still fairly expensive, but it's not ridiculous. I buy it 200 litres at a time in a big 45-gallon barrel. So that is that all done. So we get the roller out again. Push it all the way down into the roof. and then we can put the next sheet on. Get the roller, spread it out, get the resin. So I don't normally put this on, but because it's going to be the hatch where you're going to be putting your hand up to grab it all the time or push it, this just gives it a lot smoother finish. So I'm just going to put this on. So this is called tissue, and this is really, really thin fiberglass, but it gives it a really nice finish. Wet this through, roll it all the way in. It's really easy to rip it though. So that is it finished. So let's take you up and let you have a closer look of what it looks like. So that is what it looks like. So with the tissue on it, you get a lot finer look with it. You don't get that horrible graining. If you sanded this and painted it, you wouldn't. You get a really good finish on this. But that is it all done. So just got to let this dry now. I'm going to leave it dry overnight because now I'm off to the dentist. It's the next day. Got on all right at the dentist, and Georgina's back. Hello, Georgina.
Hello.
So left this to dry overnight. So I'm just going over quickly with some sandpaper just to make sure there's no like spiky bits. No one likes spiky fiberglass bits. So just go over with a bit of 80 grit, slightly over. And I think that'll be all right now. Now, let's take it off. So, easiest way is to just go around all the edges first. You can hear it go. Yeah, well, it's going to come off quite nice, I think. That bit's stuck a bit. Oh, here we go. Try and get the hair under it. And there you go. So there is our roof. So now we can get back out and sand these bits off, and then we can make a bit to go over the hole. So we've pulled the first piece of roof off, and now we're making another piece. So this piece is the bit that's going to go on the inside of the tank. So we're going to make this bit a lot thicker because we're going to use this to because the roof is metal or steel, if you lean on it, it will bend. So if you put this on the inside of it, it should stop it bending, but we're going to reinforce it as well. But this is also what I'm going to try and make into the other, like the sunroof bit, the other piece we've made, to seal onto this. So this will be, and also to stop the other bit falling through the hole. So this one we're going to make a little bit thicker, but it's exactly the same way as we made the other one. It's just it's going to be more layers of fiberglass. So I'll just put more gel coat on, and then we can get it on.
You recording?
Yeah, I'm recording now.
Yeah. So now we've got the roof back in again, but in fiberglass.
So we've done a rough cut on it. So it's a little bit too big because we don't want to go too far. So this is it sat in. So you can see it all lines up with the ridges. So we just got to sand it off a little bit more. And then we got the other panel, what we're going to make, which is in the spray booth at the moment, is going to go from the other side, and then it'll go underneath, but then it'll come over where the gap is here by about 10 mil.
So it overlaps.
Overlaps. So then when this is there, it's got something to sit on. At the moment, it's got the tape holding it in the corners, and that bar through the middle, that bar will be coming out. So yeah, so that's what it looks like. Now, do you understand what we're doing now, Georgina?
Yeah. I didn't, cause I wasn't in on the days that they were making it. So when she was explaining it, I didn't understand what you were on about.
She goes, well, what's the other bit? And we're like, what about all the other bits that we just chopped off this one? Because we're not using them.
Now I know what's going on.
Cool. All right then. Right. I think it's home time now.
Yeah, it is.
Bye. So hopefully this makes it a little bit more obvious. So this is the panel that we've just got to do a little bit more sanding just to make sure it drops in there. It fits really tight. So what we're going to do is underneath this, we're having another panel. So the hole is now filled in. So this is going to be below that roof line. And what we're going to do now is cover it in masking tape and have like a 10mm gap all the way around. So when this drops in, it doesn't fall all the way through. And also then we can put a bit of silicone on it. So when the roof goes down, it's pushing on the silicone to try and stop the water getting in there. I think it still might leak a little bit, but it's a lot better than having a hole that big in the roof.
Yeah.
So let's mask this up with the masking tape. Mark 10mm or, yeah, about 10 or 15. I'll work it out in a minute. All the way around, and then we can cut a hole into that and then bond this to the roof, and then we can work out how we're going to clip. I want to clip the back of that in, so when you undo the front, the whole thing comes off. I don't want it to have a hinge on it. I just literally want you to pull that clip out, and then the whole thing comes off. So we've cut out the hole in the roof in that new panel. So that's the new panel in there. And now we've bonded it to the original steel roof. That's why it's got so many clamps all the way around it. And then we can put in the reinforcement bits back in. So in the inside of here, there's going to be a bar that goes underneath this to stop this going down. Now this is a lot, I don't know if you can see it, it's a lot stronger than it was when the hole was in. When I cut the hole in there, everything went floppy. Now this now is a lot stronger. Out you can actually you'd be able to stand on that and it wouldn't bend it, but it's still a little bit here and a little bit at the front. So we're going to put a bar underneath and a bar underneath that bit while the roof is drying. So now this is what I was trying to explain earlier. So this is where those big bits were in the roof, where those holes were. So, and that's what I sanded. But now also I started to sand out where the stickers are. So if you get the DA, you can see the stickers. So this is getting smooth now. So the stickers are starting to disappear. So I'm just going to carry on doing that with the rest of the panel while the rest is dry. Okay, so I sanded it, and now don't really have to do this. I just thought I'd show you what finish you can get without even putting any filler, any spray paint or nothing. So all I've done is sanded it and polish it, and watch this. Wipe over now. So you can still see a little bit of where the holes were in the roof. But this isn't the cleanest rag, but it doesn't really matter. You can't see where the stickers were, because the stickers were through there, because this is the front of the bonnet. So the stickers were in the middle of that.
It's not a bonnet, it's a roof.
But yeah, so that's the finish you can get. If you look at that, you can just about, if you catch it at the angle there, can you see it?
No, I can't see it.
All right, well, I can just about see where the stickers were, but
it's really good. Yeah, considering it's the roof,
it's the roof, and you ain't going to really see it too much anyway.
No. Yeah, that's cool.
Right, so all the clamps are now off, and what we've done is we put pop rivets just round the edge of it, so you can see all the pop rivets, and the roof now clips in and out. So this is what I was trying to explain we was doing. Still needs a bit more, still needs a few more pop rivets in here, but what this does is that piece goes in the middle of there, and then that goes past it, and then it all sits in. So when you line it all up,
it's essentially like a sandwich.
See, it's like a sandwich. It's a little bit tricky to do on your own. You grab that side of it, Georgina. That's it.
Yeah. Sort of needs maybe 2 people to do it.
Yeah, but the idea is this is an emergency hatch. It isn't for use all the time. For that, we just use the body. So what we got to do now is put a fixing in here at the front, so that would hold it down. It doesn't sit as nice as I was hoping. The roof isn't that good. It's got a little bit of gaps around the edge.
Yeah, I'll go down here.
You can see where I'm pushing.
There's a bit of light coming through.
A bit of light, but I think once we've got a bit of foam or silicone or something, it should seal it up a bit better. But I knew it weren't going to be perfect. So the idea is we're going to have a catch here at the front. You pull the catch, and then you just...
And the whole hatch just comes off.
If it's on fire, you just pull that, and throw that away. So you've got a bigger opening. You're not worried about it. The important thing is getting out of there.
And also, you don't want the hatch to come back down again accidentally.
You don't want the hatch to suddenly just bounce and come back at you.
Yeah.
With this, you can just literally
throw
push it up and throw it away.
Yeah.
So that's it done. And I don't actually think it needs the bars in it anymore. Look.
We put the pop rivets in and it's pretty sturdy.
It all pops back straight up again where it was. So I think we won't bother putting the bars in it, because once you're on the seat, you're going to stand on the seat, get on here and get out.
Yeah, essentially put your feet on there and hop off. But yeah, so putting more pop rivets in that now, are we?
Yeah, just a few more. So I'll put another one in there, probably one up in there, and then I can just fill the bit with a bit of sealer. Yeah. Just so that makes that a bit more firm, because it's got a bit of a twist in it. So that's what we use for marking out. We use masking tape. Yeah. But yeah, so I think that looks...
Let's put that back in. A lot easier with 2 people doing it.
It's a lot easier with 2 people, because you're trying to fight the whole thing in, because it actually, with all the ribs, it sort of locks itself up and it lines itself up.
Yeah, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. But so now we got to find what I'm going to do for the catch. I've got I think I'm going to use like a springed bolt. And then we'll see what that looks like. So this is what we're going to use to take the hatch off the roof. Now it's a bit too big. Now this is just a sprung bolt. You use it for locking a door or something, or a gate. So you pull it back and it's sprung loaded. But what you can do with them, you can actually pull it up and they lock in place. But we don't need that bit. We just literally want to pull the bolt and then the roof goes. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shorten this. So it's quite long, so when you're sat in the seat and you're trying to pull that, because of the length of that, it puts it a bit far back. So you're going to shorten this right the way up there. It's going to shorten the spring. Still have to put that bit back in there, but we're going to have to shorten the spring and everything, just so it's a little bit more ergonomic in there for pulling the bolt. So I'm going to chop this all up now and make it look the same but smaller. So I've finished making it, so it's made a new catch, so I shortened that big one right the way down, shortened the spring, made up a clamp for it to go at the front. So now if you wanted to get out of the tank, you could reach up, pull the back, push up, you can throw that away, front, backwards, it doesn't really matter. Grab hold of the thing, come out and get out of the tank. So if there was somebody there, you're probably going to have to stand on the other seat because you need to get out. So lost that, get back here, and then you're out. So we tried it a minute ago. I can get through the window. I don't think I'll get through the window with a helmet on, but you can get out the window on this side. This, the passenger side will be a little bit easier, because the seat is a little bit smaller, and we have shortened the head support on it, so it's very similar to the driver's seat. But that is a video of the hatch in the roof of the tank completed. So we'll see you on the next episode, where we're going to be putting the radiators in the back. We've got to do the batteries, we've got to do the oil coolers, and then we can start on all the bodywork. But until then, thank you for watching. Don't forget to share, like and subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye bye.
Take me in the smoke.